ain't gonna give in now. I just gotta live this now. I'm gonna be when I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go take it to town, cause I gotta be that king in the ring when I'm knocking them out when I'm back with the whip. Cause I am just up on the journey, you just know that I'm just going insane.
Warriors, rise. A new world order and cryptocurrency will be the new financial system. My name is Coach JV. I am the top health, mindset, crypto, and business coach in the world. Remember, what you believe in your heart, you think in your mind, will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do or they repeatedly teach you will get ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. Now, this video is not for the weak. This video is not for those who are going to sit there and try to listen to the physical reality. This is deep, introspective, human cycle, historical behaviors that happen over and over again. And if you can understand this video and if you can accept what's actually happening, it will change your financial future, your relationships, and help you understand that you are the cause and effect. Now, I believe in a higher power. Absolutely, I believe in God. But God gave me the ability to understand what is actually happening, and humans go in cycles just like the weather. So what I'm going to show you today, I've been contemplating showing you this, but this is the type of stuff I study. Deep introspective of human behavior, historical patterns, and an understanding of how things go into cycles. That's why I don't panic, I don't trip, I buy the dip, and I diamond hands, because I understand this is what's supposed to happen. Now, here's the key factor. They, whoever they are, the elites that we all deem that are controlling this world, they understand this stuff at a very, very deep level. They understand exactly how humans are going to react. So these are the times that they make massive monetary, social, and geopolitical changes. If you know the game, you can't be played. So we're going to dive into it. So open up your mind, open up your awareness. If you're a person who is not ready for this, just go ahead and turn this video off. Okay. So we're going to go through the video. I'm going to narrate. I'm going to show you about an 8-minute clip. I'm going to stop the clip, and then I'm going to go show you facts, figures, numbers, logic. Okay. We're going to watch a video from Greg Brandon from Gaia. Then we're going to show you deep facts, figures, numbers, logic, and exactly where we are heading. You guys ready? All right, let's do this. If you want to jump in and demystify the crypto confusion, jump in our Warrior Academy, access to my portfolio, exit strategy, access to our team, 7 calls per week, and my revolutionary 120-day challenge. Click the comment, the pinned comment down below, and join the private Warrior Academy. Remember, I will never DM you about your crypto. We do not invest people's crypto. Those are scammers. Love you guys. All right, let's jump right into this. Okay, so I'm going to show you this video. So I need you to bear with me, okay? So I'm going to lean forward into the mic and I'm going to narrate this. So I'm going to be stopping the video quite frequently. It's about an 8-minute video, okay? So we're going to work together.
1966.
Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to turn this up. Let me go back just a smidge here. Okay, so I got all these videos pulled up, so it might be a little jumbled here, but we're going to work through this together, and we're going to work to understand. I'm going to stop the video, and then I'll show you facts, figures, numbers, logic based on what he's playing. There's some parts that I'll play for a while. Okay, ready? Here we go.
From 1966 until the year 1980, we were in the summer of this economic cycle. And I remember this personally. I was in school and I was working in the 1960s, 1970s. I remember when I could deposit my paycheck in the bank and I could get 16, 17, 18% interest on my money because we were in an economic cycle of this inflation. It was called runaway inflation. It was good for me. It helped me to save for college. So that's something we may not see again for a while. So from 1980, we went into a new economic cycle, the autumn, that lasts until the year 2000. And this cycle, as the others, there are certain investments, there are certain...
Okay, now remember, from the 1980s, we came out of 1980s to 1981. We went through a little recession, right? Interest rates were super high. And then 2000, we had a massive financial collapse.
And tangible assets that seem to do better in this cycle than they do in others until we enter into the next phase of the cycle. In the year 2000, we went into the winter of the 66-year cycle that we're in right now, a period that is less popularly known. It's called disinflation or deflation. when the things that used to have value begin to lose value. Property loses value. Precious metals lose their value. It's a very, very different way of thinking about money and about economies. And that lasted until the year 2015. In 2015, according to Kondratiev, we now have entered into a new economic cycle.
Okay, so this is really important. Okay, 2015, we entered in a new economic cycle. Now, remember what happened, guys. Remember what happened. We had the collapse in 2000, and then we've had this period of low interest rates. Okay, you could just buy properties. Anybody could buy properties. We had the financial collapse of 2008. Bitcoin's inception was in 2009. It was like they pushed the system as far as they could. And then in 2015, okay, we had our little flash crash here of the stock market, 2015 to 2016. Now, this is important to hang on to, okay, because we're in a 7-year cycle now. We're in the 7-year Shemitah, okay, which ends in 2022 September. Okay, so 1966, remember he started with 1966 with the cyclical bear market. 1973 was the start of the 1973-74 bear market. 1987 was a stock market crash. 1994 was a bear market in bonds. 2000, middle year tech bubble collapse. 2008, the great financial crisis. That's where they pushed the system as far as they could. They tested the human resolve. They tried to collapse the financial system, and they started Bitcoin in 2009, the brand new financial system coming. 2015, commodity meltdown and stock market correction. They kept interest rates super low until about 2022. They pumped a ton of money into the system. Why did they do that? They printed into oblivion so they could pack their bags, stack their assets, and get ready for the switch of the financial system. Okay, let's go back.
And we are beginning the inflationary cycle once again. And I think we're seeing this as the Federal Reserve is beginning to raise the interest rates to create the inflation. And we're seeing this happen in the world.
This Brexit has triggered fresh fears of further fractures in Europe. Scotland has already hinted that it may call its own independence vote so that it can join the EU.
Listen, I know it's not news to you guys, but it is to Wall Street, apparently. The economy grinding to a halt. Today's GDP report was up only 1.5%.
In just 29 minutes today, China's stock market plunged 7% and then was shut down altogether for the day.
So this isn't right, wrong, good or bad. It is a period of time where things change and the way we think about things changes. But if you don't know that and you see the economy making wild swings, you think something is wrong and something's broken. When actually we are in a very volatile time with this particular cycle. Now, I mentioned 3 cycles, and I'm going to talk about the third one right now.
Now, what's important to understand or understand is that this video was in 2017 before the C word hit, before the pandemic locked us down. So this is following the exact human cycle and cycles of winter, spring. It's wild. It follows the exact cycle as he speaks about in 2017, and we're hitting the exact things that he says in this video.
This cycle is a cycle that is a little mysterious to people because it is the cycle of human conflict. People say to me, well, what do you mean? A cycle of conflict? Doesn't it just happen whenever it happens? Well, the answer is no. There is a rhythm. There are cycles of conditions that make us more vulnerable and make us more susceptible to conflict.
Okay, this is so important. So important. What happened? The elites know this. They put us in a pandemic. They got us all to look this way. They destroyed small businesses, ma and pa's. Now they're going to use human conflict left and right. Roe versus Wade, gun laws, all these things that I've been telling you about, they get us to turn against each other, and they use the human conflict and the cycle of the earth heating up to get us to go against each other, and they use the problem reaction, and then they come up with the solution.
Real problem in this country that we have got to address, and it's not going to change overnight. Yeah. But we've got to understand that anger.
It doesn't mean that the cycles drive war and conflict. It means that when we find ourselves in those cycles, that we are vulnerable and susceptible, and it's an opportunity for us to walk very softly.
Okay, so there we go. Remember they talked about the cycle will create an angrier world? Well, let's listen to what Klaus Schwab says in 2020 as they brought us into this new cycle.
I don't know how it will play out in November, But what we know is that we will end up with many more unemployed, and particularly also people in the gray economy, which are not counted for, who lose their jobs. So we will see definitively a lot of anger already now, but probably increased by the end of the year, because this crisis will be with us until we really have found a remedy. So we have to prepare for a more angry world. And how to prepare? It means to take the necessary action to create a fairer world, to see that we provide everybody with decent access to the health system, that we make sure that those people who are really left behind, and I'm not speaking only on national levels, I'm speaking also internationally. If I see now the tragedy.
Okay, so the global pandemic, they know that the earth is heating up. We're going into a cycle. This is elite stuff, warriors. They know this. So understand that everything is happening is by design. Okay, so he brought up the angrier world. We're going to continue to dive into this. It is so accurate. It is bone chilling.
To extend that olive branch of peace, or go the extra mile to create an agreement, find cooperation, whether it's with our families, our friends, our communities, or between nations. I recently had the opportunity to speak at the United Nations with a dear friend and colleague of mine, Dr. Bruce Lipton. And we were invited to share with the UN our perspective of cycles of time, what we as a world can expect so that we can prepare, know where to put our resources, know where to put our energy. And I'm sharing with you precisely what I shared with them, the fact that we are living this rare convergence of these cycles. And the economic cycles and the climate cycles, many of those people were not familiar with. So the value of knowing this, that we are in this cycle of human conflict, when it's so easy to be misunderstood and to trigger an incident that can wreak havoc on entire nations. The value of that is it arms us with the wisdom and the knowledge to be very, very conscious about our agreements, about our communications. You're actually seeing the rhythm of some of these conflict cycles, the beginning and the end of the Korean War, the beginning and the end of World War I, World War II. All of these pegged right at the top and the bottom of those cycles of conflict. Well, what's interesting is, where are we in these cycles right now? In the year 2014, we began an uptick toward greater human conflict. And that uptick peaks in the year 2020. So I would expect between 2014 and 2020, we would see a lot of tension in the world. Doesn't mean...
Wow. I would expect in between 2014 and 2020, we would see, this was done in 2017, you would see conflict. Okay, let's check this out. Why has Russia invaded Ukraine? What does Putin want? Think about it. Left versus right. Roe versus Wade. The massive riots we had during the pandemic. Think about that. Think about that, warriors. They're literally using these cycles to manipulate humans.
I mean, we must have war. It means we're vulnerable and susceptible. And it also means there's a greater opportunity for deeper communication to create peace in the time of that vulnerability. That's the good news. So when I talk to people about these conflict cycles, they say, what is it that could possibly be driving these cycles? Well, this is where it goes back to Mother Earth. I want to share something quickly. We won't dwell on this, but I want you to see.
Okay, this is super important. This is what I talk about, humans going in cycles. Mother Earth is pissed. She's coming. So awaken yourself to a higher reality and a higher consciousness as we go through this, and you will become the king and queen of your own kingdom.
So you can see how deeply connected we are to our planet. A lot of research has been done now relating human conflict and social change to the sun and solar cycles. As far back as the 1700s, 1750 to the year 1920, scientists had the data where they saw the ebb and the flow of solar cycles for the first time. They could actually plot those out. Some very far-reaching scientists looked at human achievements and human disasters at the same time. They said, what are people doing while these solar cycles are ebbing and while they're flowing. And this isn't all about bad things. It's about innovation and creativity, new inventions, the automobile, and the way that we're using electronics today, and all of these things. The ideas of physics, Einstein, Niels Bohr, Max Planck, all of these ideas, Edison, this is all happening linked to the ebb and flow of these cycles. So what you're seeing on your screen is a very rare image. It is the image showing the solar cycles ebbing and flowing from 1750 to 1920, and the blue line above that is the human activity, all combined. Innovations and war, big stuff happens when the solar cycles increase, and we seem to quiet down when the solar cycles decrease. Well, that leads to the question, this ends in 1920, where are we right now? That's my question as I was seeing this. So I put this together so you can see precisely what it is that's happening. Now, what you see is that solar cycle 22, right in the middle of that cycle, the peak, that was when we had the Iraq-Kuwaiti war, a huge example of conflict. Solar cycle 23 was 9/11, right in the middle. And solar cycle 24, the first week that the sun spots, that the magnetic storms on the sun began to increase, that was when we had what was called the Arab Spring in places like Egypt and Tunisia and Libya. All of these linked to the solar cycles. So once again, scientists are not saying that the sun is causing these effects. What we're seeing is that there are natural conditions that create the environment that we respond to. And that environment, in that environment, we are sometimes more aggressive and sometimes more willing to cooperate. And that's going to be important later in this series. I wanted to see it right now so we can refer back to this. So we are now in the solar cycle 24. What does all this mean to us right now? Well, if we understand how these cycles come together, what we know is that nature uses the extremes that we're seeing as a trigger for new ideas and new solutions. I mentioned that we are living a time of extremes, and I wanted to share with you what it is that's causing extremes, the convergence of these cycles. So I think it's fair to say to you now, the best minds of our time are saying we are in fact living a time of extremes. It doesn't mean bad things are happening or even good things, but big things, big changes in the world.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it right there. Big changes in the world. We are experiencing within our human history a massive convergence, warriors. A massive convergence of human cycles and human changes. The crypto winter is unlikely in a downturn in history of digital currencies. You are moving into a new monetary system, a call for climate change. They're going to use this climate change narrative to move all these systems into place, zero carbon. We're moving from the earth paradigm, oil, gas, we're moving to energy, quantum. Okay, the earth went through a shift from, I think it was Capricorn to Aquarius, more astrology people. We are shifting into a quantum field, warriors. That is so important in regards to your investing. That is so important in regards to your investing. This is how I've always focused my investments, based on this information, not FUD, not the news, not YouTubers, not TikTok, but this type of information, warriors. This is the greatest time in human history to stay focused. Now, as we go into this greatest time in human history, warriors, one of our great partners, so this is the last chance, on August 10th, let me make sure I'm looking at this date correctly. I believe August 10th is when this closes down. Yep, August 10th. So one of our dear friends, Black Seed, came to our conference, and they hooked our warriors up with these amazing things. So as you get your cryptocurrency investments, it's important to really guard your investments. So Black Seed Inc. sponsored our 2022 conference. They provided steel seed backup plates for our warriors. If your recovery seed phrase is lying around in a piece of paper, what happens if something happens, maybe a fire or you lose it? Warriors, you need to have it on something that's indestructible. The series of products, basically their series of products is an entire ecosystem for crypto. They have the titanium capsule to protect your ledger, a stone paper notebook to record your transactions. If you don't know what stone paper is, check out the link down below to find out in the description. And finally, there's a fireproof case to hold the capsule, the notebook, and seed plates. Everything in one place to stash, grab, and go if something happens. If it even has a secret compartment that you can hide air tags in the track case. The great thing is you can get right through security with this. What's great about the Black Seed Inc. is doing is finally there's some ingenuity brought to the physical side of crypto, right? Yes, we're dealing with digital currencies, but the cold wall seed plates are there for the world's hardware and necessary to keep our investments safe. The Series X helps you organize it. It's available right now to pre-order their Kickstarter campaign, and you have till August 10th. So if you click the description in this video, Warriors, you'll get access to this. So August 10th, I believe that's 2 days from now. If you're watching this on August 8th, look at this, so beautiful, ingenuity, design. And this is why I wanted to share this on this video, because this is what we're heading into. Companies like Black Seed, companies like the Warrior Academy, company like Uncommon 1%, all these companies that we have, and Black Seed are, our dear friends of our company here, is we are innovating into a new thing. Innovation is key right now, Warriors. Now, if you're someone who doesn't have an idea or innovation, this is your time to invest in innovation. This is not a bad thing. This is a cycle that the world is going through right now, a cycle that the world is going through. And we can take advantage if we understand this is about human behavior and cycles. It is nothing to fear. The only thing to fear is fear itself. So check this out. You can get it at Kickstarter.com, or you can click the description down below. But I just want to share with you guys how important these times are, Warriors. It is an important time in human history. I know this is a longer video, but this is the type of stuff I'm studying. I'm studying Ray Dalio, economic cycles. I'm studying the World Economic Forum. I'm studying Greg Brandon. I'm studying some of the greatest minds of all time. I'm not just sitting here looking at FUD News or just the XRP case and all these things, Warriors. I'm studying deep introspective things and getting it from all angles, and understand that as a human, I go through cycles as well. But this is the greatest time in human history to get your shit together. I love you. I appreciate you. And I expect to see you on the other side. Warriors, let's get your shit together. Let's go.